What's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Mardek, and of course we are now in the Dream Realm version of the Tainted Grotto, and we found our fair share of these chests here, but there are still more areas for us to cover, most notably the area to the south of here, where we saw there's an entirely different room with a whole bunch more chests, and plenty of these forgotten faces and whims, all that stuff. Burn. What if we say we're to use something like Divine Glory here? And completely overkill you there. Okay. The other thing is, I think that if we look at Vern here, I was seeing that we did also get Soul Strike as a new offensive reaction, at least for Vern. Obviously, we've seen this on other people, but not yet for Vern. This is coming from his new sword. And we could probably take off Degeneration to throw this on, because this was something that is pretty niche. When you know that some of your enemies are going to have regeneration, then sure, you can throw this on, but it's not directly affecting your damage or anything of that sort. We could even use our 3 remaining RP to, well, how about throw on an additional 10% damage? Still a little bit left over. And here you see just how exactly Vern has what I would say are the best offensive reactions, at least for physical attacks, in the game. Both smites, all the plus damages, add the crit, add a few quarries here and there, in case you know that you're going to go against a certain type of enemy, and then a little bit more niche things like Degeneration, Drain HP, always solid to make sure that you're at or near maximum HP yourself. So, we'll throw that on. And then, let's just double check that we're headed in the right direction here, because I was about to head down, and that was not the correct answer. The correct answer is to go around this way, because it looked like, at least at first glance, as if this was going to be, more or less, just as large as the other area, at least based on those 7 chests there. Remember that this is a pretty small area in the non-Dream Realm version of the Tainted Grotto. Here's one chest with a body crystal, okay, sure, we have a few of those, but they're somewhat valuable. And this looks like the same setup we saw before. This time, again, just the Forgotten Face remaining, and so we could Divine Glory it. Even more damage this time, because we did, of course, throw on slightly stronger reactions. And then Donovan masters Resist Dark. That is big. Let's check that out. That is, of course, coming from the Night Jacket here. That is one of the most in-demand items and skills. So, we could throw on the Elortian Robe. Because like we were saying before, normally Purity would be very difficult for the spellcasters to throw on. This is the only item that can give that skill, because normally it'd be coming from heavier armors that they can't wear. So there's definitely something to be said for that. Alternatively, we could check to see if Donovan has any other of the magic defensive reactions that he's not yet mastered. Things like the minus 30% damage from the green robe. Looks like he's already done that one, though. So we might be doing okay on that front. In which case, why don't we throw on the Elortian Robe? At least for the moment. Also, probably going to want to put the Night Jacket on someone else, because that is so good. You'd rather not have it sitting unused for a while. And yes, Meridor, you are slowly getting closer to mastering this on the green robe, but this is probably still better, especially because you're going to get closer to mastering this after the end of every battle. Doesn't matter if anyone actually hits you with magic abilities or not, whereas this one, the enemies actually need to get the chance to attack in order for it to work, and they need to target you, and it needs to be a magic skill. So, for that reason, I think that although this is obviously a higher number, 50 versus 30, probably still better, or at least quicker, to do the Night Jacket. Let's just double check to see what Meridor is doing on the passive side of things, because he's close to mastering Resist Ether, actually, and that is using, of course, the vast majority of his RP. So, do we wait 8 turns? 8 battles? I think we might. Otherwise, I'm not sure that Vern has enough room for it. He's working on Locomotion, which is not super important. Plus 10% HP is nice, but not really necessary per se, so he could make it happen if he hasn't mastered this skill already, which he may have. He has not. He started on it. Oh, he's actually even closer to mastering Resist Ether. Okay, Vern, looks like you might beat Meridor to the punch here. That's alright, that means less time in which no one is using the Night Jacket, which is probably for the best. Okay, here is another one of these chests. Green beads. That was one of the strongest items back in Chapter 2. What with giving us a little bit of Earth resistance. Remember, back when Mork was the primary enemy, there were a lot of Earth opponents. In addition to, I believe, a little bit of Spirit as well. Now we found other ways to make those things happen. But theoretically, if you were a little bit light on those Earth resistance items, could still be a way to make that a thing. And yes, it does seem that Divine Glory now should be pretty consistently above 2,000 damage. At least, based on those previous two fights. And then, if we were to say, take a look at these remaining chests here, seems like there's one looping around this way. At least, if not more. Big Juice. For 2,000 HP restoration. Sure, we'll pick it up. Then, other than that, let's head up this way. Oh, just one Forgotten Face, no big deal. We got him, don't worry about it. Oh, I was gonna say, I would have hoped that Donovan could take him out in one hit, because he deals more damage when he's only targeting one enemy at a time. Not the case this time, though. Vern, could this be a chance to, say, make a point of using something like Lay on Hands instead of Divine Glory? Donovan does need a little bit of healing, so we could do that. It's still overkill, yes, but then Meridor gets a chance to do some of this. Okay, and Big Essence as well. Sure thing. There's the Resist Ether, like we were saying. That means that, oh, we could throw on the Night Jacket for Vern. However, there is a catch, and it's a pretty big one. He is, of course, using the Righteous Honor right now, which is what is giving him access to Lay on Hands, which he clearly has not yet mastered. In which case, that's a tough one. Do we deliberately make a point of mastering Lay on Hands as quickly as possible right now, so that there is no longer anything he needs to learn from this armor? Then we can throw on the Night Jacket with no regrets? Do we instead wait 6 more battles for Meridor to master Resist Ether, and we actually do end up putting it on Meridor? That's a tough one. I think, in either case, it means that we probably do wait at least a little bit longer. Let's see if we can pick up this chest down here, in which we will find a Mind Crystal, getting after picking up a Body Crystal not long ago. As for where we go next, chest here, a door here. Let's make sure we pick up all the chests first, though, before we head out of this area and see wherever that leads us. Then, here we go. And we can take, well, the elixir is very strong, restoring all HP and MP. Let's throw that on Donovan, he doesn't yet have one. The Carpian arrows, they're quick. Donovan and Mardek are the targets. And we could blaze. Could even, perhaps, just use a flame. I think we've seen in the past that these guys are weak enough. That is doable. Won't necessarily take them out in one hit, per se, but then Meridor can finish them up. Vern, do we make a point to, say, just using Lay on Hands non-stop here and try to get even closer to mastering this? Because remember, we can only use it in combat. So, unfortunately, there's no super speedy way to master this, other than, say, making a point of going into a fight and deliberately keeping some people alive so that you can use it over and over again, which we could do now. I would say, arguably, these enemies here are not the strongest ones that we could find ourselves going against, and therefore might be a reasonable opportunity. However, Vern only has 85 MP remaining, and therefore would actually run out of MP before he's able to master that ability. So in some ways, it is not perfect. Could take out one of the Carpinaros, that way there's only one of them attacking us. Because we actually don't really need them to be attacking us here, we're purely just using Lay on Hands over and over. And in that case, I suppose, at least on this occasion, Meridor is probably the right answer. And Meridor, we can't have you do really much of anything, because otherwise he will take this guy out. Mardek, trying to put on a combination of magic shields and shields, that way we're still minimizing the damage. Except, hard to predict where this guy's going to go, and whether he's going to use physical or magical attacks. Oh, whoa, I was going to say, that was close. Very close. But fortunately, Donovan goes just shy of taking that guy out. Now, I guess we heal Meridor again. Not that I'm too concerned about Meridor going down here, but again, just to minimize the damage a bit. Put on a magic shield on Meridor. And this time, did we guess correctly? Ooh, we missed. We missed. Okay, now, Donovan, you probably can't do anything here, otherwise you are at risk of taking this guy out. So then we say, Lay on Hands again, and this time, Donovan, who's most in need. And again, nothing with you, Meridor. Mardek, you could throw on a physical shield for, say, Meridor, because it seems that Meridor is the one that's most often getting targeted for whatever reason. Case in point right there. So then, Donovan, again, nothing from you. Vern, Lay on Hands. Meridor is still theoretically the person you want to use this on. Or the fastest option would be to just say, have Vern use it immediately on the first option we see, and that is probably Vern himself. If we're going purely for the speeds. Which, arguably, could make the case is the right way to go, because not terribly concerned that things are going to go awry here. And Vern again. Lay on Hands this time. Sure, you can hit Mardek. The other thing is, from an experience standpoint, Vern will get slightly more experience if he is to use that ability on Mardek, because Mardek is a higher level. And who still needs stuff? Vern, in theory, you need a magic shield. Mardek, I mean, yeah, you could put stuff on yourself, but that's not necessary, is it? Surely not. Those spells are, of course, also reducing people's magic defense, which, maybe in a longer battle, well, I guess this will be a long battle, but in a more difficult battle, could be a concern, but not here, I don't think. And Vern only has a couple more of those left in him, but with the amount of MP he has right now. So for that reason, I think we probably won't go too much longer here. Maybe not worth throwing on MP restoring items just for the sake of doing this. Because this one here will bring him down to 15. And who theoretically needs to need this? Well, actually, Vern himself. And I believe Mardek wanted to put both physical and magical shields on everyone, then I believe we've now done just that. That means that this will be your last one here. Divine Glory, already don't have enough MP for that. And so now, Meridor, sure, you can do the honors, and in fact level up in the process. Tell you what, I'm looking at Donovan's MP as well, and not that he was using a bunch of skills there, but he's also pretty low. So we saw that there were several save crystals previously. That would perhaps be rather helpful right around now, but not seeing any. At least not in this area. So Vern will probably be reduced to his default attacks here, which is, honestly, not that much of a problem because he is so strong, even with those default attacks. But here, Donovan, if you were to do this, you would no longer be able to use any spells after this. You can use physical attacks, but they are definitely not as strong as Vern's. And Vern, you could theoretically still do either Smite Evil or Disrupt Undead. Probably not necessary here. You you could instead just target the one with the most HP and show off the fact that you can deal over 1,000 damage with your default attack. And Meridor, you got us covered. He's a safety blanket. Okay, so let's head over here and actually 2 chests in this direction. In the middle of this spiral inward, where we get a purple conch and a physical runestone. So we've gotten our fair share of those as of late. That is the last of the chests in this area, but we still have yet to go through this door here. So let's see where that leads. Okay, whims. And these would be the types of enemies that we could take out pretty easily if we were, say, to just use some magical abilities here. Donovan, though, has to go the physical route. Burn does as well. But there you see the difference between Burn attacks and Donovan attacks. Night and day, really. These are just against weak enemies, and you still saw that Donovan was not able to take them out in one hit, whereas Burn did easily. Imagine against bigger enemies, Burn would likely still be able to take them out, whereas Donovan would not. Just means that we'll be relying a little more heavily on Meridor here. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, and yes, that is in fact still the case. These guys, however, I was gonna say, do have their high chance of evading, and yet I missed the reaction. Donovan still hit the target and took him out. Just to prove me wrong. Okay, so let's make sure we're heading in the right direction. The answer is to the left here and down. So we'll head on through this other door here. This would, I believe, previously have been the way out of the Tainted Grotto. And there is still a save crystal here, so it actually does look pretty similar. Oh, I suppose I was mixing up this little area here with the area that we were just in, thinking that the Tainted Grotto version was quite small and the Dream Realm version was quite large. No, they are roughly the same size here, I think. Does mean, after going to the save crystal, we do fortunately have our MP back. So Donovan can go back to being a spellcaster. Burn could, say, go back to using things like Lay on Hands if we really wanted to. He's 13 out of 20. For that, ooh, that does mean that Meridor is no longer going to be able to use Flamethrower, which is less than ideal. Guess we'll just wait on you. And then Mardek, if we really wanted to, we could, say, throw on some shields. Make your pick, or probably should have removed that curse from Meridor. But we are standing a few feet away from a save crystal right now, so not terribly concerned about that. Oh, here I was getting all clever, thinking, oh, we don't need a blaze, we can just use a flame. Was not enough. Again, just use the MP, we're right next to a save crystal. Oh, and I also think that Lay on Hands can remove curses, so also probably should have targeted Meridor there. Would have actually served the purpose, rather than leave him high and dry here, unable to do anything. Now they're stunning him as well. Oh man. What did he do to deserve this? I don't know. Okay, Donovan. Now you should finish people off with a flame. Or at least one of them. Deliberately biding our time a little bit here. To give Vern a little more chance to use Lay on Hands. And there you see, does remove the curse. I was not paying any attention at all to that reaction there. Now, theoretically, Mardek kind of sort of needs it as well. We could use a flamethrower here to take this guy out, but I think we're actually pretty close at this point to mastering Lay on Hands, so why don't we do that? Mardek, of course, can't use any skills right now, so no shields for anyone. Donovan will pass. Vern will use Lay on Hands on Mardek this time, and it will actually serve a purpose. I will be ready for that reaction this time. You'll pass Meridor. Mardek, I suppose you throw on a magic shield. If we're particularly worried. And Donovan, sure, pass with you. Vern, more Lay on Hands. And of course, the enemy attacks Donovan right after we heal him. Such are the way of things. Throw a shield on now, maybe. And at this rate, we only need 3 more. Take that 2 more. So after this battle, I'm thinking we should be able to throw on the Dark Jacket. Swap out Vern's armor, because again, that is the thing that is giving him the Lay on Hands ability. Still looking to master Divine Glory, which is coming from the sword, but that's not as much of a concern at the moment, because he doesn't have anything else that we're looking to put on in the sword slot at the moment, so should be okay. And just 1 more of those, and we'll be all set. We'll pass, and we might even just pass with the other guys as well. Go straight to Vern as quickly as possible. Lay on Hands, maximize the experience by using it on Mardek. And now, we are in the clear. Meridor is still, of course, paralyzed, so he's not going to do anything here. Mardek, you could even use your Fire Slash, because you've only had the chance to do that once already. Let's just remind our opponents that we have that trick up our sleeves as well. For Big Essence. And Lay on Hands. Bastard. We now see. And therefore, does mean that we could swap off the Righteous Honor for the Night Jacket. And the Righteous Armor does, of course, still give +3 Spirit, which, as we said before, is very good for Vern, and absorbing light 100%. There is still reason why in the future we might want to use this armor if we were anticipating taking light damage, or just trying to maximize Vern's spirit, then this could be a good chess piece to use. However, the Night Jacket is also great, and we want to make sure that we master that Resist Dark. So let's do that here. Take off Ether, put on Dark, and then Meridor is probably, at this rate, pretty close to being able to master Resist Ether, and therefore probably pretty close to being able to use that Night Jacket. What do we have here? An Evening Star, okay. So we did see that Mardek was using one of these previously. We have one already. It is that gem that gives us the double AP ability. We were using it on Legion as well. That might have been where we've been using it most recently. For Thalma Elemental Gemsplosion. It is quite valuable and quite rare. And I believe it is also, technically, a crafting ingredient. We just didn't really want to use it as a crafting ingredient when we had precisely one of them. So, that might also be an option going forward now that we have a couple. Of course, double AP takes approximately 2 eternities to master, but could potentially still be something worth putting on someone else. Made a lot of sense for Mardek, because Mardek is generally going to be ahead of other people when it comes to mastering skills, what with him always being in the party. But for others, if they're around long enough, then it could still pay off, even if it takes so long to master. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to head back up and actually exit the Dream Realm. Because remember, we saw that area in the last room in the Tainted Grotto, the little area where we saw the Shaman in the non-Dream Realm version. We could perhaps also go back to Divine Glory here with Vern, which is even more MP heavy, and therefore going to be even harder for us to make a point of mastering in one fell swoop. So we'll probably split that one up a little bit more. And there is Resist Ether. Meridor just slightly too far behind Vern to win that race. So, like I was saying before, there was that area with the Shaman previously. We couldn't get into it in the Dream Realm, although we saw that there was an area in the Dream Realm that was theoretically accessible. Just how do we get there? And so I will show you the answer in just a minute. That being that we will actually want to go back that Dream Circle there to exit the Dream Realm. How counterintuitive, right? In order to go into the Dream Realm, you have to exit the Dream Realm. It's a real brain teaser, I know. And Donovan, yes, this time you can take that Forgotten Face out. Just one spell there. More abilities mastered there, this time a bunch of status immunities. That means that Vern, you are now done with this. And I did, of course, see that Meridor has not yet mastered Locomotion, and did, in fact, get paralyzed recently, so relevant for that reason as well. As for what we throw on in, say, Vern's last spot or Meridor's last spot, now that he's mastered Resist Ether as well, do see that he's mastered neither plus 10% MP nor plus 10% HP. Remember that Meridor will not use MP, and therefore probably not all that meaningful for us to throw this on. For someone like Vern, have you mastered this? You have. Okay. That is, of course, something that we did pick up back in Chapter 2, so that makes some sense that he already has mastered it. However, what other alternatives might we have? Hoary Spirit. Has Vern mastered that? He has not. So as we were saying before, Vern does have a ton of offensive reactions, and very good ones at that. So it's difficult to get rid of stuff in order to find room for this. Does mean that we're probably taking off something that we would ultimately like to have, like plus 20% damage. But in the name of mastering this at least, let's throw it on here. And then long term, we'll probably switch back. And then we'll head on over to that Dream Circle, like I was saying. Am I going in the right direction, though? Good question. Fortunately, the answer apparently is yes. Oh, and actually, Meridor is suddenly going first. Apparently, one of the new items we put on him makes him faster, or made Donovan slower. Didn't remember that being the case, but apparently it is so. And there's Mardek mastering plus 3 strength. So remember, that was coming from the Scarlet Stole plus 6. That is the only place to learn that skill. We did pick up a few more of those Super Stoles, including the plus 6 Green Stole, this one being the Vitality Stole. So we could, say, swap on over a little bit, take off plus 3 strength, put on plus 3 Vitality instead. And then Spirit would be next on Mardek's list, yes, but he's getting close to mastering all those. Oh, actually, Mardek does not have plus 2 Vitality. In fact, I don't think we've yet found anything that gives us that ability, so we're gonna have to keep our eyes peeled for that. But at least in theory, doing things like throwing on plus 1 Vitality, plus 2 Vitality, plus 3 Vitality, plus 10% HP, plus 20% HP, could turn a low HP character into a high HP character. And there we go, back into the normal version of the Tainted Grotto. And so, the Shaman area would be up here. Let's make our way over there. And of course, that does mean that we'll be back to fighting the original set of enemies here. Oh man, they're putting on shields on everyone. Should we be concerned? Oh, they're faster than us. Maybe we should be concerned. I mean, they did put on the magic shields, or the physical shields first, so I suppose that also was a sign that they were quicker than us. But no problem. Okay, so we'll head back around. I believe we need to go down before we can go up. Yeah, because we'll need to go back through the World Saviors fight area, the actual area where we fought them before. Not the Dream Realm version of it, I know. Okay, so this will take out everyone except for the Grill. Notably, because the Grill will actually heal to it. And Donovan, you don't hit your reaction. It is still Fire Elemental, and therefore, you can't do much of anything against this guy. Burn with Fine Glory, though, actually somewhat low damage there. Probably had a lot to do with how he had a shield on. And we did lower Vern's damage on some of his reactions, as well as reduce some of his spirit. That is the primary reason why we're seeing that. So those things, they do matter. And then we want to go up and to the right over here. This will take us to our destination. First, we got more of these phages, though. Yes, they are fast, so we'll go here. Not that that's too much of a concern. And they would normally be high magic defensive enemies that we'd be concerned about trying to break through those magic defenses with. However, we got strong enough spells. Not a problem. Okay. So then if we head back here, Again, there was a save crystal here because once upon a time, this was a boss fight area. And that was where we found the Geo Jacket right here. But this is, of course, its own dream circle right here. And that is the only way to get to this little island right here. So, if we flip that switch, then it does something for us. What exactly? Maybe is not entirely clear right now because we haven't seen any purple walls in this area. If we head back out, I think we will find now that that is just about everything for us to do in this area, in the Tainted Grotto, as well as the Dream Realm version of the Tainted Grotto. So, with that, I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here. And next time, we'll either see what it is that those things were unlocking, or maybe go back down to the southern continent and check out that Earth Temple.